Jamaal, Francois. All right. Welcome to the Melanated Perspective. I'm your host, J.R. King. I'm here with Pastor Jamaal Francois.
What's going on, everybody?
How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well, man. Bless me.
That's right. We're going to jump right into it. We off the dome. We don't have anything planned for the conversation. I met this brother a couple weeks ago. I actually met his mom.
That's right.
I met his mom at S&S Cafe. I ran into her. We had a good conversation for about 30 minutes. She passed my information on to her son, and we've been chopping it up ever since.
That's right.
That's right. So, what I've learned is you're a pastor, but you're also a rapper.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's very unique. I listen to your music, and I love it, man.
I appreciate it.
I love your energy. Let's start off with, how did you become a pastor, and who were you before becoming a pastor?
So, I went under the alias AA, because my name is Jamaal, Jamaal.
Okay.
And I started rapping seriously, professionally. I would say 2008, God gave me a vision. I had overdosed on syrup. I was at Georgia Southern partying. Prior to that, I was asking God, what is my purpose? What would you have me do on this earth? Mm-hmm. I had already been rapping mixtapes all throughout high school. I had a near-death experience. A guy actually told me that I was going to die. And I was like, Lord, I don't want to die. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and in that moment, God gave me a vision that I was going to be a rap superstar and lead people to Jesus. Right. But not do it in a religious way, like be me and reach the unchurched, reach people in the streets, reach people in the suburbs that way. So I went under that alias AA. About 2 months, maybe 1.5 months after that, I won Best New Artist in the CSRA Hip Hop and R&B Awards.
Okay.
And then my label, PCP, won Best Indie Label. Now, I was 19 years old, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Coming up in the air. I don't know if you know any of the names back in the day from Augusta, but, it was some names out there, and I was just like, wow, I was blessed to win this, like a month and a half after I got this vision.
Right.
And we just hit the ground running from there, Power Fest, Mayfest, all the radio stations in the CSRA, got played on the station in Atlanta, ended up charting nationally with my song Jazzy, produced by Big Nick. Okay. And that's my background with rap. Went out to L.A., homeless, sleeping outside of Def Jam. Met the VP of Island Def Jam, freestyled for him in Atlanta. Ran into him again in Santa Monica. Ended up getting an indie deal, but ended up turning it down.
All right.
It didn't, it just didn't feel right. And then about a month after I turned down that record deal, I met my pastor. I hit up my homie. I was going to buy some weed, and I bought some weed, and watch this. So I bought weed, but my gas tank was on E. So I had money to buy weed, but I ain't. So my homie, and the homie is Flock, DJ Flock, 97.9 The Wiz. He is the guy that he invited me to All About Change. So he was like, hey, Dub, your car on E. I invited you to the church, just ride with me. And I was like, okay, I'll ride with you. Visited the church. It was in the house and never stopped going 8 years later,
Okay, well, you touched on L.A. Kind of spoke about that a few days ago when we first met.
Yeah.
Tell the people about your experience, your testimony.
Man, me and my wife was like, we going to L.A., we going to meet Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? Because I think he's one of the most similar people in the music and entertainment industry to me and how I think. Just seeing his come up, how he merges his faith with his music. Super confident, super honest. We all get crazy and rant sometimes.
We do.
His is just caught on camera. We went out there trying to find good music. And the address I had is what led us to Def Jam. We never found good music, though. I don't know if it was an old address or what. But we went off of faith. Like, I remember reading something that said, get in touch with the person that is doing what you want to do. And that's what we tried to do. So we took a one-way. My dad bought me, my wife, and our friend one-way tickets to L.A. under the premise, what he thought we had hotels and everything. So we had $100 in faith. That's it.
Between three of y'all.
Yeah, and when we touched down in LAX, we slept in the airport the first night because all the hotels around were booked up.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, just crazy faith and, but God always provided. Like, we never missed a meal. Whether I found, you remember when McDonald's was doing the Monopoly thing?
I do.
So, and you could win free food, burgers and fries. So we would always find that. I found a meal voucher one day, even to the point of like going to shelters and getting clothes and food. Like, I experienced all of it.
Has to be a hell of an experience, man. I never experienced anything like it.
Yeah.
But coming from that, how do you have the strength to get where you are now? Going through that right there. That's a hell of a thing to go through at the time.
It is a hell of a thing to go through.
And still, were you religious at that point? Did you believe like you believe now? Or did something happen to kind of lead to this?
Yeah, of course I believe, because I wouldn't have even went and did that if I didn't believe that something great was going to come out of it, even if it was to strengthen my faith. And then because my whole thing was I wanted to get a record deal by the time I was 24, and I did. When I did that, I was 23. I had got married at 22, turned 23, and I had did everything that a local artist in Augusta could dream of.
Okay.
I won the awards. I did all the biggest shows, everything. I had did everything except perform at the James Brown Arena. Okay. And then I did that this year on the outside. We weren't inside. We was on the outside of it with Waka Flocka and Lil Duval and Rotimi. But I was just at the point where there was nothing left for me to do in Augusta. Like, I had did the newspapers, the radio stations, all these clubs and stuff. Cream, Sultry Sounds, 1102, all of that stuff. Shout out to Kid Joe, Sly Tay, Chills. These are all DJs that have played my music that I built relationships with over time. Flocko, even helping Flock win to be a radio personality on 3. Like, I was in the running with him, and then he went to the next level, and I didn't. And I was just like, well, I'll help you out. And then he won. And me not winning was a blessing, because after he won, he helped get my song Jazzy in rotation at the station. So it's like, after that, it was like, okay, you local, you becoming regional, but I want to be global. And that's why I went to L.A., because that's where Hollywood is.
Yeah, heard a lot of stories about people running to L.A.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it ends way worse,
Yeah.
So how long has it been since you've been back in Augusta?
Man, that was back in 2012. Okay. So we came back here pretty much like 2013, because I had a notion that my wife was pregnant. And I was like, we had got the deal, and the guy was like, just head back home, and then, we'll get everything straightened out, and I'll fly you back out here and everything. And the day we came back to Augusta, we went to MCG, and my wife got a pregnancy test, and she was pregnant. And that was like leading up into 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a couple times in my life where I've been told I was supposed to be a pastor.
Mm-hmm. I remember you telling me that.
I can remember one time I shared with you guys. We was at Golden Corral, my wife and I. We had went with it was a pastor from the job. Him and his wife took my wife and I out. And I remember this lady staring at me. So you remember Golden Corral on Sundays is always packed.
That's right.
So it's Sunday, the big crowd is there, and this lady, she's locking out at me. I'm thinking in my head, oh hell, the hell I done done to this lady. So she stands up and starts walking over to her. And when she gets there, she starts crying. She tells me that I was supposed to change lives, and I was supposed to be a pastor and all that stuff. I just wanted her to get the hell out of my face. You know what I'm saying? I was embarrassed. Yeah. I'm like, man.
You trying to eat.
So it happened like that a couple more times, but I never could.
With different people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Different people. One of them was the pastor, and two of them happened in different restaurants. And I just couldn't see myself going down that road. I was into a different life. And I honestly still can't see myself being a preacher. Mm-hmm. But I'm working with a life coach now. And he's teaching me that it's really no difference. Yeah. The preacher is just a teacher.
That's right.
It's all about how you're looking at it. So it's getting me to try to walk into that light now. Excuse me. Walk into that light now and just understand, as long as I'm trying to affect lives, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to put a label on it. And that's kind of how I am with it now.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to touch on with you, we had a conversation I thought was real dope. I never been able to have a conversation with a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I told you that I don't really believe exactly what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in God 100%,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't believe in religion.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what made me think you was pretty dope, because I was able to have that conversation and without you feeling no kind of way and without me feeling no kind of way.
Yeah.
So I want to actually have a conversation like that if we could. So I don't want to, the way I look at it like all religion kind of teaches the same thing. I never really studied one like I should have, but I dibbled and dabbled in each one of them. And all of them are based on love.
Okay.
So what I believe is, if we just focus on that portion, you know, the teachings of the love and how we should treat each other, and use it as like a stepping stone how to build a good life, you know, if we focused on that part, the world would be a way better place.
Absolutely.
So I believe that when you get the church involved, and not just the church, you have some pastors, not all. Some pastors are more about greed, the women, and things that they can get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I start seeing that stuff, I just choose not to. I kind of feel like a lot of the religions is used to start wars.
Yeah.
You know, in the name of this, in the name of that, I'm able to kill your whole country. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like I never want to be a part of something like that.
Yeah.
But I know God is real, because I see the flowers and the bees and the beauty in life. I see the sunset. I've been to the ocean and saw it, you know, set over the ocean. So I know someone had to construct all of that stuff right there. And we couldn't do it, so it has to be a higher being, you know, something that connects us. How do you feel about that? I guess being a pastor, talking to someone like me, what would you say? I mean, how could you? I don't really know how to form the question.
You saying, like, what do I think about it?
Yeah, being a pastor, meeting someone like me. You know, we're talking about working together, and yeah.
I mean, I think it's dope. I think what really caught my attention about you and what you and your wife and organization is doing is that y'all are doing the work. Y'all are not just talking. So it's like you find a common ground. So in my Bible, it says that undefiled religion is this, that you would help orphans and widows. So that's exactly what you was telling me when we was on the phone.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Anybody can quote the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can read a document, memorize it, quote it back to you. But are you applying the principles in that document? Okay. You know, I never wanted to be a pastor. I never wanted to preach. My dad was a pastor. Even when I joined All About Change, I told my pastor, I said, I'll never be a pastor. I'm seeing what you're going through. And, you know, they say never. But then I realized that my calling and purpose with rap is very similar to the preaching, because when I'm rapping, I'm preaching. You know, my audience is my congregation. You familiar with Pastor Troy?
I am.
Yeah, so a lot of times when I introduce myself to people when I'm doing music, I say, have you heard of Pastor Troy? And they be like, yeah. And then I say, well, I'm Pastor Jamaal. You know what I'm saying? Pastor Troy was actually preaching and quoting scriptures in his music, but he was relating to the thug niggas. You know what I'm saying? He was relating to the streets. And a lot of people didn't even realize what he was doing, but they felt it. It resonated with them. And when I was at Georgia Southern, there was a guy, you know, hard gangster-like dude, and he had told me, he said he wanted to commit suicide one day, but listening to a Pastor Troy song made him not do it.
That's deep.
Yeah, so sometimes, you know, your best sermon is not even you preaching, bro. You know what I'm saying? It might be a song. It might be something we're saying in a podcast. You know what I'm saying? It might be a conversation.
And that's what I'm realizing, that I can get my message out without being part of a church or anything. So I just choose to do it that way. Mm-hmm. I believe tithing is give 10% of my time for the good of, you know, of human beings.
Right.
I just believe in giving back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe that we can change a lot, you know, coming together. And I believe that's where I want to put my hard work and my legacy towards that. I always had this vision. If I could just become president, I can fix all the homeless in the United States, right? So I had this crazy idea. I'm going to get off the ground one day. So I'm going to take all the homeless that I run into once I make it big. Mm-hmm. I'm going to buy a lot of land. I'm going to build a lot of little houses. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to farm the rest. I'm going to have them work the land to, first of all, feed themselves. And for the capital, I would take and just keep building on the land. Have like a year or two program to where they would go through there, have training and stuff, and then they will move on. And in return, they have to come back and help the next group that comes in.
Okay.
So that's the kind of stuff that I want to do, man. That's the kind of stuff I feel like God put me here for. I watched the Panthers. I watched Garvey. I looked at Martin, Malcolm, and I studied these guys. Everybody back to Booker T. And I feel like that's my calling. Like that's how you walk in your God. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You have to stand for something.
That's right.
And I just didn't feel like religion did it for me. But meeting someone like you give me a different look on it now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I have a different respect for it. You know, I can be myself and still reach. You know what I'm saying? So that's what makes me want to partner with you, and I think we can make good change.
And I truly believe that to be effective, you have to be yourself. Like, I don't think that God can use the fake you. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, the way that you think and your likeness and the way that you speak, God made you that way for a reason. God allowed you to go through stuff for a reason so that you could connect with other people. So, I mean, I believe in being yourself.
That's right. Well, Pastor, I can't wait to try to get some of this stuff off the ground. We had an idea. I know we keep on saying that we're going to work together. We got an idea that we're coming in. We're going to present to you guys. I don't know if we should roll it out right now. We're kind of just still at the beginning stage of working it out. Or we can just kind of roll it out when it comes.
Yeah, we could roll it out when it comes.
Okay. We got something special for you guys, though. And as soon as we get the rest of the details down pat, we're going to roll that thing out. I think it's going to be great.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be world-renowned.
Okay.
So what we're going to do now, we've been talking. He does rap. We're in the studio. So I think we should get him in the booth. What you think about that, Pastor?
I think that's great.
All right, cool. We're going to cut. We're going to get to the music. We're going to be back with the interview. Peace. All right. Here we can start back up. I kind of ran out of...
Just be giving them behind the scene love. Y'all get to see the camera still rolling.
Yeah, so I kind of ran out. So what do you think we should pick up at? Do you have anything?
That was pretty good, man.
How long was that? Anna?
I am unable to give you an exact time because I've been rolling since he sat down.
I probably end up taking some of that, putting it in the damn episode.
Yeah.
Had some good conversation before.
You did, and I got all of it.
Yeah.
I know.
So how would we do this scene?
So I see you lose the jacket. Go ahead and set up. You got your stuff.
Like I say, you probably put the camera over there on that side. That'd probably be it.
Remove the camera. Set it up.
Yeah. So we think about just rocking your song. You get in there, we pretty much shoot.
Hey, one of our members at All About Chain Stopper, she said it's been about 15 minutes.
So appreciate that.
Thank you, Miss Sarita.
15 minutes. If we come up with something else, we can sit down and do another 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. Because, you know, I feel like the anomaly, and I feel like I am fighting everything that a person believes a pastor is. I do. I feel like I'm up against everybody's preconceived notions of what they think a pastor is based on what they've experienced. And I'm not the first one that's like this. Like my pastor, Pastor Robert Elam, he's real. You know, he's different. Yeah, sometimes he cuss. He's an dealer. You know what I'm saying? Got shot in the head, got busted with 17 keys. Like, this is a part of his testimony. So I think a lot of times people that's really called by God that become pastors went through something, you know. Because if you only went to seminary school and then they took you and planted you something, it's just like, what is, I mean, if that's what happened, then cool. But you have to have went through something to pull people. And you have to be able to relate to people. And everybody's not going to relate to me. You know, it's like going to a buffet. You get what you want. If you don't like green beans, you don't get the green beans.
I think that's more the older people are never going to even try to understand it.
Yeah.
They stuck in their traditional ways. You come to church, we sing these songs, we got them preach for a minute, you pay the pastor, you go home. They don't want to hear nothing different.
Yeah.
Blasphemy.
Well, they said that about Jesus, so. I mean, it is what it. People don't want to change their tradition. Mm-hmm. They like to be comfortable. But then, like I asked this one lady, she visited our church, right, many years ago. A good lady, but stuck in her tradition. She came and she said, "Oh, your pastor don't preach out the Bible." And I was like, "What you mean? He did. He stayed the Bible verse and then he went on into his message." And she was like, "No, I'm just used to, you know, the whole message being scripture. I said, "So what you used to, right? You know, that tradition, right? What has it done for you and your children?" She said, "Nothing." So what's the point? So people will fight you to stay in their tradition even when it's not effective.
Yeah, they don't even look it up. I think my problem with the older generation, they don't even know why they believe the things that they believe. They were taught that, and they never questioned it. And that was my problem when I was growing up. My grandma was a Jehovah's Witness, and she used to drag us to church, and I hated it.
To the Kingdom Hall.
I hated it. There wasn't no music. It was like, I'd be like, man, I want out of here. And she used to make us do like Sunday school, Monday, Wednesday. Then we had to go to church on Sunday. So it made me question a lot. Like, why am I here? Why are you making me do this? You know? Mm-hmm. So once I got old enough, I got into some trouble and I joined the church. And something it didn't sit right with me, so I started researching. So what I was able to do was, what I decided to do was take history and look at history and what was going on at that time, because it'll paint a different picture. If you're just reading that what the scriptures are, okay, cool. But what was the law of the land at that time?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So I want to know what was the law of the land, and I know that certain words are different. So when you translate one thing, we could be talking about one thing, but changing that one word can give it a totally different meaning. So I wanted to start looking into it that way. And once I went back and started putting the times of, I don't want to get too deep into it because then we're going to get into slavery and all that, but King James and how he, you know, the Bible talks about, you know, being that way, but he had a teenage boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? Then you learn who his auntie was and his mom. You learn the story how he became powerful. And then what was his mission once he became powerful? He came to America with those ships. So I had a problem with my Bible being named after him. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it didn't benefit people that look like me. Right. So I kind of feel like it was used against us a lot.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. And still is today.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's kind of where I started going. You know, I didn't believe in all of that. I believe in the principles that the church holds, but once you start the building funds, and now I got to have these glass windows, and my church got to be a block long, but you got homeless people sleeping all around that church. You see what I'm saying? You got a big old building that you're going to lock up at nighttime and let these people sleep out here in the cold, but you out here for the people. And then you take the money, and the pastors are millionaires, and they having jets and having nice cars, but the people that give you the money, they all stay in the same position. Mm-hmm. They never grow with you. Mm-hmm. Everybody should be able to come. If I get on the plane, and all you guys who got me there, you loyal followers, should be able to go with me.
Talk to me.
You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I was thinking at that time in the early age. That's kind of where I strayed away.
And a lot of people think like that, and I agree with that. If you are a pastor or anything in leadership, and you're making great gains off the backs of poor people that are putting their trust in you, No, I ain't with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you getting your money, honestly, like me, I'm a pastor, but I volunteer. I don't get paid. I'm not on the payroll. I work at AU Medical Center. I own my own business. Prayer creates possibility. Entertainment. I know a bishop right now. He's a pastor, but he owns several businesses. You know, he like me. He does films and has done very well. He writes books and has done very well. So if you making your money honestly, you know, outside of the church, then that's great. And I do believe a pastor should be put on the payroll at a certain point when he's giving all his time and energy. Because if he doesn't have any money and he's giving all his time and energy to the people, then, I mean, and he can't feed his own family, that's crazy. But if you're in it for greed, like I know somebody told me at my job, actually, they said, oh, you a pastor, oh, you're going to make a lot of money in that business. I don't see this as a business. You know, I don't see it as a business. Even I do marriage counseling. Even with that, you know, it's not necessarily a business because if God ain't told me to marry you, I'm not fit to marry. Right. You know, that's blood on my hand. You know what I'm saying? So I don't do stuff just for money. You know what I'm saying? I work a job. So I don't have to pastor for money. You get what I'm saying?
I do. I believe that the pastor should be paid, but it needs to be a negotiated limit there. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you're not going to get.
It got to be some type of checks and balances.
Yeah. So like, okay, you shouldn't have to work 40, 50 hours if you're the pastor and you're looking out for all of us. Okay, I agree with that. You should have a decent car. You know, you shouldn't have to struggle. I agree with all of that, but it has to be a cap. You know, you don't need 20 goddamn, you don't need 20 houses. My bad, man. But you don't need 20. You don't need 20 rooms in your house. Yeah. You don't need a plane. You don't need 10 cars. Like, it has to be a cap on it, because at a certain point that money has to start going back into that community, though.
Yeah, and the thing about it, like I said, it depends where that money is coming from. Cause like I know of another pastor that was on Preachers of Atlanta, and he's a police officer, but he's a pastor. You know what I'm saying? You got pastors that I'm not the first one that raps. You got Canton Jones. He sings and raps, but he's a pastor. He had a radio show. I don't know if he still has it. So like, if you're making money from your own businesses, I don't think you should stop business deals because you're a pastor, and I don't think you should stop pastoring because you're making a lot of money. To me, it's all about how did you get the money. So if you go into millionaire, billionaire status off of your own trade, then that's one thing. But if you're taking tithes and offering from the people, and then you went and bought a jet with the tithes and offering, and they can't even see the jet, then you know what I'm saying? That's where I look at it, you know. And another thing that I thank God for, that I never was on a payroll, which I'm not opposed to being on one, but I never was on one. I could preach what I want to preach. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm not in fear of the congregation leaving, because you ain't giving me no money anyway. You get what I'm saying? So you can't control me with your giving. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And a lot of pastors are like, oh, I ain't going to touch on that because I'm going to lose. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to lose my support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I had to worry about that, if I was a pastor, I wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, because I'd be telling
people. You got to be free. Yeah.
I'd be like, man, look, Miss Jackson, now we all know what you be doing at the church. Sit your ass down, Miss Jackson. You up here jumping around, but we knew what you was doing. Like, stop acting holier than thou, you know?
Yeah, I don't like
I would call people out like that, so people wouldn't agree with me. I'd be like, look.
Oh, they don't like me. They don't like me.
Like, go to the back of the church.
Yeah.
You know, whoever you just talking about, ma'am, you come sit in her spot. Because you need it. This person right obviously don't know why she's here. I would be that kind of person. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and hold my tongue if I'm the pastor. And I know that we're supposed to be here to love on one another, teach one another, help each other grow, and all move in our inner God is what I call it. We all moving in that. And if you're here judging people, then you're here for the wrong reason. I don't even want to be bothered with you.
Right, and if you got time to think about what I'm doing wrong and you looking at me the whole service, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have time to focus on what's wrong with you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to preach what the word say, and then I'm going to love you. And I got my own demons. You know what I'm saying? I got my own flesh. You know, I have to repent daily. So if I don't have time to zoom in on all your problems. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that is what Jesus was about when they was trying to stone the woman who was caught in the act of adultery. First of all, I'm thinking, well, what about the man? Because she can't commit adultery by herself. And we know that in history, women have been considered the lesser. You know, I've even come to the knowledge that some of these people that were considered men in the Bible were actually women. And they make them masculine because they don't like that. A woman, like some people don't think a woman should preach. I don't agree with that. You know, but Jesus said, he without sin cast the first stone. Everybody drop their stones. You know. So if I have time to condemn you, because that's not even God's spirit. You know, he don't come to condemn you. You know what I'm saying? He convicts, but he's not coming to condemn you. You know, where's the love at? And yes, love is correction, but it's a way to do that, you know, to gently speak to somebody, especially if you're going to take the time to tell somebody what they're doing wrong. It has to be genuine. Yeah. You have to be caring. It can't be, because how would you respond if somebody did that to you?
I think that you have to go, when you're going to help people, first of all, you can't judge. You have to take yourself completely out of whatever they're telling you. And you need to go in there with 100%, I'm going to gain understanding from whatever was going on. And if I can gain understanding of why you did it, what made you do it, you know, and let's get to that thought process and let's see where we move from there. And I can't do that by thinking, well, I remember back then I used to, and you should have. Nah, man, you listen to the person, you actually take in what they're saying. Yeah. And that's how I would go about it, man. Well, that's how I feel like it should be.
Absolutely, man. And I feel like we all are one. So for me to treat you in any kind of way that I wouldn't want to be treated is selfish, right? Because I have to see myself, even in customer service, I have to see myself as the person on the other side of the phone or the desk or whatever. Like, even when you see people being persecuted and punished for their crimes, you know, if you killed somebody and then they give you the death penalty, you know, you don't want to die. You know what I'm saying? But some people are so hard, like, well, kill them, you know, behead them, gas chamber, do all. And it's like, but if that was you, you would want mercy. So you got to give people the same mercy that you would want, because you could find yourself in that same situation.
Yeah, I had to learn, man. I realized I believe in working on self a lot. And I realized that was one of my weak points, you know. I was a terrible listener, you know. So I wanted to work on my communication because I want to help people, and I feel like I'm supposed to change lives. But you can't do that being a poor communicator. Yeah. So, you know, I started taking the course NLP, Neuro-Linguistics Programming. Yeah. So okay. It's kind of teaching me how to do exactly what I just said. So it's teaching me how to know that my perspective isn't the only perspective.
That's right.
Your perspective, my perspective, but neither one of them is total reality, though. It's only our perspective.
Yeah, it's our perspective.
And once you look at it like that, you're able to have conversations a lot better, you know, take yourself out. So I love it, man. Yeah. That new learner. And I just can't wait to teach people that shit. I mean, my bad.
It's all good. Hey, this is your show. I'm a guest, man.
Yeah. But it's just respect as far as being pastor. It. You know, my wife's dad is a pastor. So whenever he comes around. Word. Yeah, whenever he comes around.
Where's his church at?
He lives in Bridge. I thought Bridge.
No, they just stay in Fairburn, but they preach in Conyers at my grandma's house, or they'll rotate the church to my aunt's house in Decatur.
So they're rotating church right now.
So it's non-denominational as well.
Okay. We have a church in Stockbridge. That's near Conyers.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Going back roads.
Okay. Man, we have to check it out one day. We're up there.
Okay.
Come check you out. I really enjoyed coming up there to your church the other day.
Appreciate y'all pulling up.
So I'm going to be honest with you, right? So we get there, and we're running late. So when we get there.
That's right.
We thinking that he's preaching. Uh-huh. And we stand up. You see me grab my jacket, and you come. I was like, so what's going on? He's like, the service is about to start, man. We about to bonk out on y'all. We were finna bonk out. But I'm not gonna lie. I don't know the lady's name. Mm. If she's watching, shout out the lead singer, the slim lady.
Janine.
Man, she was amazing.
Janine,
she put so much of her soul into it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh
and
yeah.
She was so genuinely happy performing them.
Oh yeah.
But one, my wife and I was talking about that. Is that her original music?
No,
It's
no,
not?
she's singing praise and worship songs that were written by other artists.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get those songs. And I think I maybe just fell in love with her singing the songs. I may not even like the songs,
Yeah.
But she really, she made me feel welcome there.
Yeah, and she got a reason to praise God because a lot of people don't understand where that joy comes from. And being able to walk with her all these years, I've heard her testimony,
Right.
being on pills, being an alcoholic, you know what I'm saying? Suicide, not feeling like there was any more purpose left in her. So when you see her praise, it's coming from a real place.
It seems.
Yeah.
You can tell it.
Yeah.
I mean, I kept telling my wife, I said, and she's still like that. She's still like that.
Yeah.
She was jumping.
And she a little something. Yeah.
Man, she had so much energy, man. It was just a blessing just to watch her. I think she performed 4 songs, and I think she still could have did 4 more.
Yeah. I'm sure she could have.
The way you guys interact is different. And I actually enjoyed that service a lot, so we'll definitely come back.
And my wife tuned in. Hey, Tierra.
Where is
Tierra the Realtor.
Yeah. And man, I follow you guys ever since we met.
We follow you guys.
And we feel, we take our hats off.
I think we wake up at the same time.
We do. We get up at 4, 5 every morning.
That right?
And for everybody out there, so ever since I met this guy, he's been texting me by 5 o'clock almost every morning. I mean, I don't mind at all. It's refreshing. I wake up and be like, that damn Pastor Jamaal up again. How you doing, Brother Robertson?
Man.
Cool, man. It's pretty cool.
Like-minded individuals, like I said, you could know the Bible, you could be in church all your life, but what is the work that you're doing? If you died today, what are the lives you've impacted? And when my mom told me what you was doing, then when you told me, then when I came and sat in on y'all meeting, and just you being willing to even do this, because the same way I could have said, oh, you don't believe exactly what I believe, you could have said the same thing. It was like, I don't want to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced other pastors. I don't want to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? So we already working together.
That's right. Yeah, I believe you have to show people that you take anything that you can learn from someone. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
So we can sit here and talk. We don't have to have the same belief. We can believe 2 different things. And even if you didn't believe in God, I would still sit right here with you and show you the utmost respect. What you believe in don't bother me.
Right.
But it's something that I can learn from you by sitting down having a conversation. That's the approach I take to everybody that I meet, regardless of what you do. I want to talk to you because I want to learn something from you. We've been in 2 different lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What your life been like?
Exactly.
That's what I feel.
Yeah.
What your life been like?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I take that approach. And your wife you and your wife remind me of me and my wife with y'all hustle and y'all grind. I've watched a lot of y'all videos. I saw and watch y'all movie, which I love, by the way.
I appreciate it.
Shout out to the cast. I saw you guys in church. I love the movie. The music videos, you rap, she rap. She's doing her business, you doing your thing, and I follow all of that, and I just admire it, man, from afar. Like, I really, really respect what you guys are doing.
I appreciate it, JR.
So, that's kind of led me to you guys.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you guys.
And I'm always open-minded because my thing is if you cannot challenge what you believe, then perhaps you shouldn't believe it, right? I mean, if we don't ask the questions, how will we get the answers?
Oh, yeah.
And, like, in college, one of my best friends was agnostic. I don't know if you know what that means, but it's like I don't say that God exists, but I don't say that he doesn't exist. But she was the first one to get the PCP tag. Like, there's a PCP tag. I won't take my clothes off, but I got it right here. Right. My wife has it, like, right here. The girl I'm talking about that was agnostic, she got it on her finger. Okay. She was the very first one to ever get it. And she didn't even believe in God, but she believed in me, and we had a great friendship. You know what I'm saying? Loyal. And that's my thing is, can you be loyal? Can you be genuine? Can we build something? Because at the end of the day, I can't make you believe what I believe.
That's right.
But we can be cordial and respectful to one another. And like you just said, I could learn something from you. I could learn something from her and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Some of my greatest supporters are people that don't believe like me. You know?
That's right. Yeah, man. I just try to look at people for who they really are. Look at their actions. I don't really get into what they believe.
Yeah, the actions are everything, bro.
Yeah,
the actions are everything.
It is, and I'm so focused on what I got going. Either
I don't have
do time,
together,
or we can't. You know, we be cordial when I see you, but
yeah,
I ain't got time.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing. I ain't got no time for that.
Hey, for the people, one time, I don't know if anybody can see it. Show your shirt.
Oh,
and that's another thing that I like right here.
Yes, talk to me, walk with me. Pastor Jamaal. Yeah.
Say it one time like you're doing a video for him.
Talk to me, walk with me.
I like it.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I smile so hard every time you do it.
And I remember you left a voicemail. You was laughing.
I was busting out laughing, so it caught me off guard, right? So I'm calling you for the first time. I think when you call, I was busy. So I'm calling you back.
You was asleep.
And then when I call back, I get your voicemail. So I'm expecting the pastor. And then you come with that, and I'm dying laughing in the background. Talk to me. Walk with me. And I was like, what the? And I'm dying laughing, man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It intrigued me right there. I just couldn't wait to talk to you after that.
Yeah. Get the shirt, get the hoodie, the mask, the underwear, the shoes, all that.
Make sure I put a link.
Yeah.
Put a link. Make sure we support, man. That's one thing we want to make sure we do. We always try to support the local black businesses. Anybody who's trying to do something positive, make sure we support 100%.
Yes, sir.
That's how we grow. On the way we're going to build Black Wall Street is we all do it together.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I really believe.
Stop all this hate.
We got to do it together, man. It's the only way we can do it. We need nurses and doctors. We need educators. We need financial advisors. We need all of that to come together and be like, look, forget who's going to lead it. Somebody's going to lead. That person's going to just stand out. Mm-hmm. Only thing we got to worry about building infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Let's build that infrastructure, and that's the church I want. You know what I'm saying? I want my church to be the whole village. I don't care. We out there talking. So I got this thing I want to do with like business. And we used to cook out and drink and smoke and chill a lot. So I want to take that same concept and don't nobody touch nothing until everybody come up with their business ideas they have for that week or two. You know, meet every like 2 weeks. And instead of just sitting down playing dominoes and cards, let's talk about business ideas. Let's talk about the ideas you have to help the community. Let's talk about the ideas you have to just help yourself, you know, your family. And then if we all came together and did that a lot more, can you imagine what we'd be as a people? You know, that's the kind of stuff that I'm on, man. I want to build. I feel like I could be a gardener. I could be an ex, you know.
That's right.
I feel like that in my mind. And eventually I'm going to run into the people I need to help that come true. And we're going to change stuff. You know, I want to build, I want to have food programs.
Yes, sir.
You know, like when you study the Panthers, they try to push that military stuff. You know, they walk around guns, they were military. But if you look at what they really built themselves off of, it was helping the community. It was all love. You know what I'm saying? When they came out there, they started feeding the kids. And then they implemented things like free health care, free ambulance rides, free pest control. You know, they had a whole 10-point system that they did. And I studied things like that, and I tried to figure out, well, how did they get all these people to follow them, though? You know, to believe in what they were saying. So that's why I studied them, and I feel like I almost got that thing figured out. Mm-hmm. When we get that thing implemented, man, we can really make some good change. Mm-hmm. And that's what I propose, man. Every time I meet somebody, I feel like, man, I feel like we can change the world.
We can.
You know, we can change the world. We can change the world, but it has to be all of us. And,
So we French.
We French.
We French.
We are. That's pretty dope.
I know. I still my dope.
Yeah, but that's what I believe, man. We all had that mindset of, okay, take care of yourself, take care of your family, but that 10% and tithing that we talk about, the church believe one way. If we took that 10% and put it just towards each other, and also if you're going to take 10% of your money, let's just say, I got this idea from Dr. Umar Johnson, if anybody ever, you know, researched him.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
So he had this idea I thought was amazing. If we if we as a black community, right, let's just say we all eat a lot of grits. Mm-hmm. If we just took our grit money every week and kind of like put it together.
That's right.
Ain't nobody eating no damn grits. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't nobody eats. We're going to take that money, we're going to pile it up until we get to this, and then we're going to open our school. It only take a couple months. You know what I'm saying? We get everybody in this city to come together and be like, no, we want our own school. How do we go about it? We figure out some kind of fund to where can't nobody touch it. You know, it's to the public. Everybody can see it.
Yes.
Couple of months, we got that thing. And then we on to the next project. And it really ain't hurting nobody. It just costing you your grit money or your hair grease money. Because I think if you just look at the numbers we spend on just hair products a year, you know, them females with all that weed.
Oh, they gonna spend.
If they just took
yeah.
a third of that hair money that y'all be spending and just invested that into the community instead of giving it to the church, if we implemented something like that, man, the change will come. It would start citywide, and that thing would grow statewide and nationwide. It would be all over the world because then we would realize we would be showing people if we could just do it ourselves, we don't need the government. We don't need a system.
And I believe that at one time, the church was the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you look at it, and then from a biblical standpoint, I really don't identify as a Christian. I identify as a kingdom ambassador. When Jesus taught and preached, he preached, repent for the kingdom is at hand. The reason why they crucified him is because they said he was claiming to be the king of the Jews. So they like, wait a minute, you saying you the king, you know, but he wasn't saying the king of this world. He was talking about the kingdom of God. So as a kingdom ambassador, the church is supposed to be an education institution as well as a kingdom embassy, right? To represent the government of the kingdom of God. So back when we were closer to, during segregation and all that, I feel like black people come together when we go through hell.
Yeah.
But then when we start getting it easy and a few of us become millionaires, billionaires, and we balling and we think that we free, but really we still mentally locked up, right? Because we still hating on each other. We still cheating on each other. We still taking each other's wives and husbands. We're still jealous of each other and envying one another.
Right.
But it's like when we go through suffering, we hit our knees, we come together. Like, you know, people say that they're atheist, agnostic, but I guarantee you on September 11th, you know, the church was packed. You know what I'm saying? I bet if a nuclear bomb hit tonight, God forbid, you know, people will be running trying to find a church or at least, you know, on their knees praying. And it's like that's why suffering can be good sometimes. You know, it's a verse I live by. It's good that I was afflicted that I might learn your statutes, because it's been through my pain that I've gotten stronger, that I've gotten wiser, and that because I had COVID. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you know, shout out to COVID or whatever. Maybe just be a flu and they doing all that over there. Gotta be careful about what you say on these platforms. But you know, I had COVID. It made me more grateful. I actually preached a message. Then I was asked to speak at my job about my experience with COVID, and super more humble, super more grateful, super more excited. You know, never thought I'd be so grateful to be able to taste and smell. You know what I'm saying? Never thought I'd be so grateful to be able to breathe without coughing every 5 seconds and having mucus, you know, so thick in my lungs. And through that experience, it made me so much more grateful. And it's like sometimes we have to go through suffering so that we can realize what's truly important. And I know in the black community, it's like we don't really come together until we go through hell. So you got to think like slavery. I feel like when we was in slavery, we was the most powerful.
Yeah.
You know, we was speaking in code. We had secret ways and routes to get to what we thought was freedom. And I say that for a reason. You know, we was willing to die behind what we believe. Now, you know, you settling to go get you a new booty, new lips. You know what I'm saying? You're not happy with the way that you look. You know what I'm saying? You seek validation in men and women. And it's like, do you know who your grandma's grandma was? Do you know what they had to go through just for you to sit here today? Yeah. And you settle for something that doesn't even have value? You know what I'm saying? It's really ridiculous. And like you was talking about history, knowing your history, if we really thought about what our ancestors went through, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Mm-hmm. You know, but what are we doing? What are we doing with this time? What are we doing with this opportunity? And it's like when we was going through segregation, trying to get rights, and they telling you, judge how many Skittles in the jar and all that stuff brought strength. You know, we was praying. We was meeting at church not just to hear the Bible. We was meeting at church to decide what move we going to make to shift, you know, the way that these people are seeing us. What moves are we going to... And see, a lot of people get on Martin Luther King talking about, you know, the color. It's not about the color of your skin, but the content of the character and, you know, the content of your heart. But they don't talk about when he was talking about financial. increased. And then that's when he died.
That's when he got him killed. That's what got him killed.
It's okay. We'll segregate. We'll assimilate. You know, y'all coming together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we don't want y'all to have no money. We don't want you to own nothing. We don't want you to have property. We don't want you to know what the laws are. Even with this thing, you know, there's rights that you have that, you know, that's why they just made a motion to suspend that so-called mandate, because we have civil rights title 7, you know. You cannot force people to have these intrusions. Yeah. And so many people stepped into court, you know, black and white, you know, Native American, all, and it's like, we were not doing this. Even at my job, many doctors, nurses, throwing it back. You cannot force this. And everybody don't need their job.
No.
You know.
Speaking of the jab, we don't believe
Talk
in it.
To me.
But we don't believe in it, man. I encourage our people to really do the research. And I look at it as chemical warfare. You know, I think that we're kind of being attacked by certain stuff. So the reason I believe that, if you go do your research, what did they do to the Indians? You know, after they killed a lot of them off, they gave them blankets with smallpox, right? Mm-hmm. Then look at Tuskegee. You know, and I can just keep going on.
I saw that movie.
You know, if you look at kind of how they've been doing us, sometimes they use certain stuff against us to help try to kill us off. Nothing's worked so far. But if you do the proper research, then, you know, I don't knock anybody who takes it, and I don't, you know, come off like that.
And I don't either.
Yeah, but if you do the research, it's been used against us so much. How can you trust it? You know what I'm saying? Like, we are not chemically, our DNA is different. It's not the same. So they may give us stuff, and a lot of them could survive, but it could affect us differently. You know? And when you look at stuff like that, I can't believe in it. You know? I'd rather go down in flames before I take it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I feel.
And my thing is this, so I'm not against vaccines, I'm against control. Anything that is good should not have to be forced. I've never in my life, and I'm 32, I've never in my life ever seen something promoted so heavy.
No.
You know.
You're right.
You don't have to promote water. You know what I'm saying? We know that you need H2O. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to promote that you need to eat. We know you need to eat, you know. After 40 days of not eating, that's starvation. So it's like, if something is good, and this is anything, if something is good for me, it should not be forced upon me. So you have to question that. Oh, yeah. You know, I'm not against you protecting yourself, bettering your health, but once you take my choice out of the matter, we say my body, my choice. Okay, what happened today? Talk to me. You know what I'm saying?
I guess that only applies when you talk about women. My body, my choice, I guess. I guess it don't apply to all of us, but I think it's crazy, man.
And I think that people are just used to being told what to do.
They're comfortable with it.
Yeah, your freedom is an illusion. Like, I'm really excited to watch this new Matrix that's coming out. I'm really excited to see.
That's a new Matrix movie.
Mm-hmm, the Matrix 4. To see red pill, blue pill. I'm eager to see what kind of metaphors they're gonna be dropping, because those producers and directors, they were so ahead of the game when they dropped.
Let me tell you, I'm glad you brought that up.
Uh-huh.
Check this, it's gonna blow your mind. So I was watching the producer. The director of the director of who? Okay, did you know that the Terminator and the Matrix is the Matrix is a sequel to the Terminator, and so the Terminator, the lady's Connor, the guy in the Matrix is supposed to be her kid in the future, and they're trying to come to the future to kill him. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. It blew my mind. I was like, what?
But when you think about it, that makes sense, because they were fighting the machines. Mm-hmm. In the Matrix. Mm-hmm. So then this is what I thought, and this is just trippy, and I was telling Tierre, what if in this Matrix, because you know they got out of the Matrix. Mm-hmm. A lot of people got out of that programming. So what if now that they're out, they're in this world, and the people that we're fighting are the robots, and we don't even know it, because in the Terminator looked like us on the outside, right? I don't know how deep y'all are into believing about shapeshifters, the reptilian community. Yeah.
So.
How in the hell are you?
Cause y'all been on the TV. We ain't recording. Y'all supposed to be going in.
You're not recording?
Oh well, I've been recording since you got
here. Yeah, I'm on live.
Here too.
So. Well, then stop talking to me.
You've been
asking me questions.
Well, they do this in shows. It be people, you know. That's your wife.
Been in and out.
Yeah. She like an executive producer of the show.
She is the executive producer.
They could do that. She could do that.
They do what she want, man. It's kind of how it goes.
Now I've got questions. Y'all.
But yeah, like, what if that's what it is, though? You know what I'm saying? And then I always was told that if it's in a movie, they either have already did it or they're doing it.
So, I don't mean to cut you, but I want you to go back and find the interview she did. And it has a lot of biblical stuff in there that she tied into those two movies.
Okay.
So, it was kind of like
you did.
No, the director. The director put that into the movie. So it's a lot of biblical stuff that she put in there, but you have to listen to her in the interview, and I'm going to find it tomorrow and send it to you. Okay, she breaks that down. It's going to be mind-blowing.
Okay, babe.
It's going to be mind-blowing to you, man.
Tierra laughing. Yeah, and then, like, even what you said when we had that meeting about the missing books and about, it's a lot of screwed up stuff that is taking place. Man. That they don't want you to know, because if you know it, then you will know they are among us. Okay.
You got a second?
Yeah, I got time.
So we got time.
I got time.
So I want you to come talk to me, walk with me through this story, right? I got you. I tried
it. He did.
I
Good.
tried it.
Yeah.
So in the book of Enoch,
that's right.
That's the book we're speaking about. So they talk about a lot of. So for those who don't know, Enoch was one of the only humans to go to heaven, meet God. He was allowed to come back. Well, he went, met God, wrote a book, word for word with God. God allowed him to come back, bring the book to his children, say his goodbyes, and then took him back. So in that book, he takes him on a trip and explains, I think, the 7 heavens. And he also takes him around the world and show him how the moon, the sun works. But I'm going to fast forward because this is the interesting part to me.
Mm-hmm.
He was speaking about the fallen angels, the Nephilim.
Yeah.
He was speaking about them and what they came, how they slept with a woman, had the baby, and what they taught them magic and
that's right.
war and all of that stuff. Right. Okay, so we get to that. He shows, anyway, he explains in that book where the fallen angels are being held captive.
Okay. All
right, cool. Now let's come to reality, because I told you I like to do a lot of history and comparing stuff, mm-hmm. right? So it's this story. It's a guy named Richard Admiral Byrd. All right, so you guys can look this up. So Richard Admiral Byrd was the guy who won the race to the North Pole. Okay, so he won the race to the North Pole, and then once he came back, he was celebrated. He wanted another adventure. He went to the South Pole, right? So this was 50s, 60s, when you look it up, 50s, 60s. So his next adventure was going to be to the South Pole, right? So he gets down there and they run into this 200-foot wall of ice, straight up. They can't get by it. They ain't really got the technology at the point. So they travel trying to find an opening. There wasn't one. So then they come, they regroup, they go back down, and this one is called Operation High Jump. So Operation High Jump was pretty much trying to get over this 200-foot wall, right?
I heard of that.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to make this short because it's kind of long. So they get down there, they go down a couple times. So when they get down there and they finally get up there, he comes back and do an interview, and he's saying, we found untouched land the size of the Americas, right? Untouched, full of natural resources to hold us over for lifetimes and lifetimes. His fear was the world was probably going to be at war trying to get a hold to whatever was down there, right? So they go down afterward, and when they go down, they come back, and everything's changed. I believe they ran into something, right? And if you look up Richard Admiral Byrd in his diaries right before he died, he spoke of things called hollow earth. And he said when they went down, they ran into something more intelligent, right? They tried to say that he went crazy. But I say all of that to say, If you really read the book of Enoch and you listen to that story right there and kind of look at how things shaped afterwards for us in society, right? So let me give you an example. NASA was created after that. Did you know who the top scientist was in NASA? It was Hitler's top scientist. So they took the German scientists and made them the top people in NASA. And they started shooting missiles straight up, and they call it Operation Fishbowl, if you want to look that up. It's Operation Fishbowl. So they started shooting nuclear weapons straight up. So what my beliefs is, they ran into something that was more intelligent down there. So what they did when they came back, they did 100-year treaty. All of the nations, nobody can go down to Antarctica. Only the most powerful people in the world can go, right? So like the Cheneys, the Obamas, the Bushes, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I forget what two churches, they ain't speaking 100 years, but when they finally decided to, I think it's the Roman and whatever other church.
Yeah, that sound about right.
When they came back together,
in the earth,
they went to meet down there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about technology before the 50s, 60s, all the way back to the King days, it was kind of limited technology. You know what I'm saying? We were just getting the motor car and all of that stuff. Now think about technology after we went down there. You know what I'm saying? From the 50s until now. Look at technology jump. I believe they ran into something down there. You know,
the fallen angels.
If you read the book of Enoch and he give you the description of where they're being held, what did they run down there that was more intelligent? Now it may sound all crazy, but
no.
These are all facts.
Remember when I said I was told, and y'all probably heard this before, if they did a movie on it, they either already did it or it's being done, right?
Right.
So have you seen Transformers?
Yeah.
A level of intelligence beyond human thinking, right? Yeah. And they actually aren't robots. They're aliens. That's just how they're structured. Mm-hmm. What did they call the Decepticon? The Fallen. Yeah. The Fallen what?
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy.
And then they was down there in Antarctica or something like that. I remember one movie, they was under snow, found some undiscovered, and their technology was way out of here. And then they were dealing with the wealthiest people on the planet, but they were really being influenced by the Decepticons.
Fallen angels.
Like strong metaphors. Yeah, they trying to tell us something.
That's deep.
And some even believe that these people have to, like, that's their code. They have to tell us in some form or fashion what they're doing so that when it comes to the light, you know, they say, well, we told you so. Mm-hmm. We prepared you for this when we drop an alien out here for everyone to see. We've been showing y'all in these movies, in these books.
Yeah. So before we went down there, Hitler was down there looking for something. Mm-hmm. And then they supposedly killed him in the war, and then they went down there after. So it's pretty interesting to look up.
I'm thinking about the type of person he was.
I mean, I don't ever look at history and be like, yeah, that person was like that. Because one thing I know, they'd take somebody's name and really twist a lot. And I heard a lot of different stories about Hitler.
About Hitler?
Yeah, so I've heard a lot of, he was this monster. But I also heard stories about, now I'm not saying that what he did was right or anything, nothing like that, but his reasoning, you know, if you listen to that, and it's just crazy. It paints a different picture of who he was and why he was doing it. Now, I'm not agreeing with anything Hitler did, get that straight. I'm not agreeing with anything. But it's interesting to learn people and why they did the things they did, So it's really interesting.
Yeah, because my favorite villain is Apocalypse. I don't know if you followed the X-Men series. Yeah, because he really believed he was God. So that's why he did what he did, even though he was wrong. But he believed he really was God and cleansing the earth.
I don't remember the Apocalypse. I just remember Wolverine.
He was the first mutant ever.
He was doing flips off the furniture and shit.
Oh, yeah, Wolverine bad. He bad now.
But, man. Well, it's been good, Pastor.
Yeah, it's been great.
Hey, so if you still on there, how long we been going now?
I don't know if Miss Sarita's still 46? On there. 46 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Additional. Yeah. So it's time for the booth, Pastor Jamaal.
All right, y'all.
So, I guess we'll wrap this up. Formal way.
We ready.
This will do it for this episode of Melanated.
To get it in, y'all. Get in the booth.
Your host, J.R. King.
Y'all tune in to their YouTube channel and everything, they podcast, Melanated Perspectives in. So you can see the rest. Boom. Talk to me. Oh, Miss Larita's still in the building. She said 45 minutes.
Thank you.
That's a loyal soldier.
Hey, that she right there.
Yeah. That made me not want to turn it off, man.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I got some behind the scenes stuff because this was supposed to be behind the scenes. That's what we announced. Why you keep looking at me?
I'm gonna go live once we get in the booth and we about to start.
That's what's up.
Love y'all. Talk to me.